In the heart of the planet, hidden among jungles, mountains, and deserts, there are flowers so strange they seem to have come out of a dream. They are not found in ordinary gardens or traditional botanical catalogs. They are living jewels that defy time, climate, and even logic. Some exude the scent of chocolate, others bloom for only a single night, and one of them, the most mysterious of all, grows in a place no one dares to reveal. Get ready to discover the 15 rarest and most beautiful flowers in the world, where beauty and mystery bloom side by side. But before we start, subscribe to our channel and leave your like. Now let's begin. Number 1. The corpse flower, Amorphophallus titanum, Indonesia. The corpse flower, Amorphophallus titanum, found in the forests of Sumatra, Indonesia, is the largest single flower in the world, reaching up to 3 meters and weighing over 100 kilograms. Its name comes from the rotting flesh odor it emits during blooming, attracting carrion flies and beetles that aid in pollination. Blooming is rare and brief, lasting up to 48 hours, and it can take years to occur again. Despite its grotesque appearance, the flower is a masterpiece of evolution, combining size, smell, and color to survive. The species is at risk due to habitat destruction, as it depends on specific soil, humidity, and temperature conditions. The corpse flower demonstrates that nature's beauty can also be found in the strange and grotesque. Number 2. The ghost orchid, Dendrophylax lindani. The ghost orchid, Dendrophylax lindani, found in the swamps of Florida and the forests of Cuba, is an almost invisible plant with no apparent leaves or roots, seeming to float among the branches. It survives thanks to a symbiosis with a microscopic fungus that provides essential nutrients, and depends on Darwin's sphinx moth for pollination, whose tongue is uniquely adapted to reach the flower's nectar. Extremely rare and delicate, any environmental change threatens its existence. Unlike the corpse flower, which impresses with size and smell, the ghost orchid enchants with silence and invisibility, symbolizing the precise balance of nature. Each wild specimen is a living jewel, impossible to cultivate without its natural conditions and specific pollinators. Number 3. The jade vine, Strongyloidin macrobotrys, Philippines. After following the invisible trail of the ghost orchid, nature changes tone and immerses us in a world of impossible colors. Deep in the tropical forests of the Philippines, where humidity forms a bluish mist among the trees, blooms a plant that seems made of liquid light, the jade vine. Its flower clusters hang like turquoise waterfalls, glowing even in dim light. At first glance, they look like jewels carved by divine hands. But they are living flowers, suspended on lianas that can reach up to 20 meters in length. In the language of the forest, this species is pure spectacle. The Strongyloidin macrobotrys impresses not only with colors, its story is a lesson in the secret alliances of the plant kingdom. Unlike daytime flowers that court bees or butterflies, this flower entrusts its fate to creatures of the night, bats. Yes, the same animals many fear are the jungle's nighttime gardeners. As they hang upside down to drink its nectar, their bodies are coated with pollen, unknowingly becoming messengers of the species' continuation. The most fascinating thing is that the flower seems made especially for them. Its curved shape, like a delicate claw, fits perfectly with how bats feed, and the turquoise hue, so rare in the plant world, serves a practical purpose. It reflects moonlight and even the bioluminescence of certain insects, guiding pollinators in the dark. It is literally a flower that glows in the night. However, the same specialization that makes it extraordinary also makes it vulnerable. Deforestation and declining populations of pollinating bats have drastically reduced its presence in nature. In some areas, the clusters that once hung like celestial curtains have become only memories. Therefore, each bloom observed in its natural habitat is a celebration, a reminder of what can still be saved. In botanical gardens in Manila and London, where some specimens are successfully cultivated, visitors often fall silent before it, not out of fear, but pure admiration. Its color defies logic. The human eye is simply not used to seeing such an intense, pure blue-green, so outside the usual floral spectrum. Some scientists call it the impossible color, a hue that seems from another world, and in a way, it is true. The jade vine is a bridge between day and night, between the visible and the hidden. While the corpse flower dominates by gigantism, and the ghost orchid enchants with invisibility, this plant celebrates color as an act of resistance. In the darkness of the jungle, it chooses to shine. They say that under the full moon, when bats fly among the trees and the turquoise clusters sway like living lanterns, the forest seems to breathe differently. It is the moment when beauty and rarity merge, and life reveals once again its most unexpected face. Number 4. The black bat flower, Takachantrieri. Southeast Asia. When the turquoise glow of the jade vine fades among the trees, the Southeast Asian jungle is covered in shadows. It is precisely there, in this humid and silent twilight, that a flower emerges that seems alive, though it is not. It is known as the black bat flower, and its appearance is so unsettling that many believe they are looking at a nocturnal creature rather than a plant. Its petals, deep black with purplish reflections, open like the wings of a resting animal. From the center grow long, fine threads, almost like whiskers or filaments, floating in the air and moving with the breeze. Approaching it gives the impression that the flower breathes. It is an illusion, of course, but so convincing that it is hard to look away. The Takachantrieri has been surrounded by legends for centuries. In some villages in Thailand and Malaysia, it is said to grow where forest spirits rest. Others claim that picking it provokes the wrath of the night gods. Although science does not endorse these myths, it recognizes that this plant is deeply unusual, a design seemingly made for the theater of darkness. Unlike most flowers, which seek to stand out with bright colors, this one chose black, a hue that does not attract human eyes, but instead attracts nocturnal insects thriving in the shadows. Its color and shape are believed to mimic certain fungi and dark fruits, luring flies and small night pollinators, a perfectly calculated plant disguise. Additionally, its structure is a marvel of natural engineering. Velvet petals repel forest moisture, preventing fungal growth, while the long filaments help disperse pollen via wind and insect contact. Everything about it has a purpose, though its appearance seems straight out of a gothic dream. In botanical gardens worldwide, the black bat flower is among the most observed, and also one of the least understood. Some visitors feel fascination, others discomfort. Its strangeness challenges the traditional idea of beauty. There are no bright colors, no sweet fragrances, no delicate forms, only a hypnotic dark elegance that seems self-aware. Interestingly, under certain light conditions, its petals reflect an almost invisible silvery shine, as if hiding a metallic layer beneath the surface. It is this contrast between matte and shine, serene and unsettling, that makes it one of the most photogenic flowers on the planet, a paradoxical living sculpture, darkness transformed into natural art. And so, while bats pollinate the jade vine with their light flight, the black bat flower seems to watch from the shadows. Still, yet alert, both share the night but in different ways. One illuminates, the other hides. In the vast repertoire of nature, the black bat flower is a reminder that beauty does not always shine. Sometimes it merely lurks in the shadows. Number 5. The chocolate cosmos, Cosmos atrosanguineus, Mexico. After the dark mystery of the black bat flower, the journey takes us away from the Asian jungles to the warm, arid heart of Mexico. There, among sun-drenched grasslands, blooms one of the most melancholic jewels of the plant kingdom, the chocolate cosmos. Its name sounds like temptation, and for good reason. Approaching it fills the air with a sweet, unmistakable aroma, the scent of cocoa, a natural, genuine perfume that evokes both memories and hunger at once. Behind its charm lies a story of beauty, extinction, and hope. The Cosmos atrosanguineus displays a deep red hue so intense that in the evening light, it appears brown. Its velvety petals absorb the sun as if drinking fire, and its nearly black center glows with a hypnotic mystery. It is a simple flower, but its elegance comes from rarity. There is no other like it in all of the Americas. For centuries, it grew freely across central Mexico's fields, accompanied by the wind and the hum of insects. However, human expansion, climate change, and habitat loss pushed it toward oblivion. In the early 20th century, botanists confirmed the unthinkable. The chocolate cosmos had disappeared from the wild. Only a few cultivated specimens remained in European gardens. Then something extraordinary happened. Scientists discovered that all existing flowers today descend from a single original plant. In other words, every chocolate cosmos cultivated in the world is a clone. The entire species survives only thanks to human intervention. It is as if nature had been frozen in a single living copy, endlessly repeated. Yet the flower has not lost its charm. Its scent remains delightful, and its color hypnotic. On hot days, it releases an even stronger perfume, as if trying to compensate for its genetic solitude with exuberance. Gardeners say it blooms best when tended in silence, undisturbed, perhaps because its fragility is also its legacy. It is curious to think that a flower extinct in the wild survived thanks to humanity's desire to preserve its beauty. Without clones, it would no longer exist, but by cloning it, we created a paradox. Millions of flowers, but a single identity. The last true flower lives, multiplied infinitely, yet without history, without natural descendants. In this sense, the chocolate cosmos is more than a botanical rarity. It is a metaphor for time. Everything ephemeral, preserved in a single fragment. Its scent reminds us that memory can also bloom, even when the original life has vanished. Between the sweet aroma of cocoa and the echo of what has been, the chocolate cosmos continues to captivate hearts. Not just for its beauty, but for representing the fine line between extinction and persistence. In it, nature and humanity meet in a silent pact, keeping alive a spark that would otherwise have been extinguished forever. Number 6. The kokio, Kokio Kuki, Hawaii. From the dry fields of Mexico, where the scent of cocoa still lingers, the journey moves to the heart of the Pacific. There, on Hawaii's volcanic islands, life blooms between fire and sea, an archipelago where nature seems to reinvent itself every day. Among its most fragile treasures is a flower that was on the brink of total extinction, the kokio. Its scientific name, Kokio Kuka, reveals little about its rarity, but in Hawaii it is spoken with reverence. For centuries it grew on the dry slopes of Molokai, among red rocks and salty winds. But the arrival of invasive species and human expansion nearly erased all traces of the plant. Around 1950, it was officially declared extinct. Then the story changed. A local horticulturist almost by chance found an old sick tree with a few red flowers. He managed to take some living branches and, with them, resurrected the entire species. Today, all kokio plants on the planet descend from that single survivor. Each red flower that blooms is a silent testament to nature's second chance. Its petals, intensely red and incandescent, seem made of the same fire that formed the islands. Unlike other tropical flowers that display exuberant colors, the kokio radiates a restrained intensity, like a flame that never goes out. In Hawaiian culture, its color symbolizes the blood of the land, the sacred bond between humans and nature. But beyond beauty, the kokio represents a triumph over oblivion. Its survival is a direct result of human patience and dedication. Scientists had to graft its branches onto the roots of other species to keep it alive. Number 7. The bird of paradise flower, Strelitzia reginae. South Africa. After the blazing red of the kokio, the story travels to the southernmost tip of the African continent, where the land opens to the ocean and the wind sculpts landscapes of stone and sand. In this luminous setting, among gently rolling hills and salty breezes, blooms one of evolution's most recognizable masterpieces, the bird of paradise flower. Its scientific name, Strelitzia reginae, may sound formal, but its appearance is pure joy. Its orange and blue petals open in the shape of wings, reminiscent of the suspended flight of an exotic bird. It is a flower that does not merely exist. It seems to move even when the air is still. Nature, in its infinite creativity, designed this species with the precision of a choreographer. Each flower becomes a small platform where birds, especially sunbirds, the African hummingbirds, land to feed on its nectar. As they do, the weight of their feet triggers a hidden mechanism that releases pollen. It is a millimeter-perfect dance between plant and animal, an evolutionary choreography so precise it seems rehearsed. But beyond elegance, the bird of paradise flower represents a powerful idea: cooperation. Unlike the fierce competition that often governs nature, here everything is based on harmony. The plant offers food, the bird carries life. Both thrive together, repeating the dance generation after generation. Curiously, the Strelitzia did not adapt solely to birds, but also to wind and light. Its shape is designed to withstand gusts of South African weather, while its iridescent colors reflect sunlight with a metallic sheen that attracts pollinators from afar. Every petal, every line of its structure serves a precise function. Behind its apparent beauty lies an almost mathematical logic. In the 17th century, when European explorers discovered it, they were so amazed by its form that they brought it to the royal gardens of England. Since then, it has become a symbol of exoticism and prosperity. Today, it adorns parks and homes around the world, but its origin remains unmistakable: the wild south of Africa, where life learned to dance with the wind. In local culture, the bird of paradise flower symbolizes freedom and hope. Its winged form reminds us that all life seeks to rise, even that which grows from the ground. In a way, each blooming flower seems to contain the movement of suspended flight, frozen in time. Compared to the serenity of the kokio or the fragility of the chocolate cosmos, this species represents the opposite: vitality, dynamism, and light. It is pure celebration of existence, the moment when the plant world dares to imitate the animal kingdom. Thus, under the African sun and the songs of birds, the bird of paradise flower spreads its wings without moving. It is the most colorful proof that evolution does not merely adapt, it also creates art. Number 8. The bee orchid, Ophrys apifera. Europe. From the warm valleys of Africa, where the bird of paradise spreads its colorful wings, the journey now moves to the European countryside, where subtlety replaces brilliance and beauty disguises itself as deception. Here blooms one of the most ingenious strategists of the plant world, the bee orchid. Its scientific name, Ophrys apifera, carries a story of natural cunning that seems written by an author with a sense of humor. At first glance, its flower looks like a bee resting on a petal. Its shape, texture, and even the surface sheen mimic with remarkable precision the body of a female bee, but there is no insect there, only an illusion created by the plant. When a male flies nearby, he cannot resist the disguise. He approaches, vibrates with excitement, and attempts to mate with the flower. In the process, his body becomes coated with pollen, which he will carry to another false bee, unknowingly repeating the pollination cycle. It is a perfect trap. An example of how evolution can be as ingenious as it is ruthless. Unlike the bird of paradise, which seduces through cooperation, this one does so through manipulation, and both strategies work. In Europe, this flower is revered as a symbol of the unusual. It is found in open meadows, among tall grasses and limestone soils, yet its delicate ecological balance makes it vulnerable. A shift in bee populations or soil conditions can condemn it to silence. Thus, every blooming specimen is almost a miracle. An act of equilibrium between instinct and chance. To behold a bee orchid is to witness a masterpiece of natural deception. In its small floral theater, insects are involuntary actors, and the flower is an invisible director guiding the scene with precision. Between apparent innocence and refined strategy, nature reminds us that the art of survival can take the most unexpected forms. And while European fields hum with the buzz of confused bees, the journey continues toward regions where beauty takes another form, that of extreme rarity, a flower that blooms only every few years, as if time itself must mature for it to exist. Number 9. The kadupal flower, Epiphyllum oxypetalum, Sri Lanka. From the sunny fields of Europe, where the bee orchid deceives with sweetness, the journey now dives into the tropical shadows of Sri Lanka, where the night guards a secret so fragile it can barely be told. In this humid, fragrant silence blooms the kadupal flower, an apparition that occurs only once a year, and always under the discreet gaze of the moon. Its scientific name, Epiphyllum oxypetalum, sounds technical, but its fame is almost mystical. No one can cultivate it for display, because its life is a fleeting moment. It blooms at nightfall, opens its white petals with hypnotic slowness, and when the first ray of sunlight touches the horizon, it disappears. Within a few hours, all its splendor becomes memory. Hence, in Sri Lanka, it is called the fleeting soul flower. It has no market price. No one has ever managed to sell it. It wilts before it can be cut from its stem. Its beauty belongs not to commerce, but to time. Each flower is a secret ceremony. Those fortunate enough to witness it say its sweet, dense fragrance transforms the air into something almost sacred, a scent blending jasmine, vanilla, and a touch of humid forest, impossible to describe without feeling nostalgia. The most fascinating aspect of the kadupal is its emotional rarity. Most flowers compete to last, to perpetuate their color or fragrance. This one chooses instead to exist for only a few hours, as if eternity were not its purpose. Its brevity makes it a living metaphor. The purest beauty is also the most ephemeral. Scientists explain its cycle as an adaptation to the nocturnal environment. By blooming at night, the kadupal attracts its natural pollinators, moths and bats, creatures that live under the stars. Beyond biology, there is something deeply human in its story. In Sri Lankan villages, it is said to bloom when the world is at peace, and its opening announces good fortune. No one dares cut it. Doing so would be like interrupting a dream. What science calls ephemeral, tradition calls sacred. Indeed, some Buddhist monks consider it a symbol of detachment, a flower that teaches admiration without possession. Every year, people at temples await the night when a kadupal decides to bloom. There is no exact date, only intuition. When it happens, the news spreads from house to house like a blessing. Seeing this flower bloom is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Its white petals expand to almost 30 centimeters in diameter, like a moon rising from the stem. The whole plant seems to hold its breath, and then, without warning, dawn erases it. What remains is memory, and a fragrance that lingers only a few more minutes, like a gentle farewell. In a world obsessed with conserving, collecting, and repeating, the kadupal flower is a silent rebellion. Its message is simple: the most beautiful cannot always be preserved, and perhaps that is why its beauty touches us so deeply. Number 10. The bird's beak flower, Lotus bertholodi, Canary Islands. From the shadowy jungles of Asia, where the kadupal flower is born and dies in a single breath, the journey now takes us to an archipelago of fire and wind, the Canary Islands. There, in a land where the sea meets lava and the sun seems never to rest, survives a flower that defied oblivion. It is called the bird's beak flower, and its scientific name, Lotus bertholoti, is a tribute to elegance born in the harshest places. Its shape is unmistakable, a spiral of red, curved petals that precisely mimic the beak of a parrot in flight. It is a perfect illusion, so vivid it seems about to emit a song. This resemblance is no coincidence. Nature, master of adaptation, designed its form to attract a very specific pollinator, the canary sunbird, a long-beaked bird that vanished centuries ago. Since then, the flower lost its original partner and nearly disappeared with it. For decades, it was believed extinct. No one saw it, no one found it. Botanical guides mentioned it as a floral ghost, an echo of what once existed, but nature, stubborn and ingenious, rarely gives up. In the 1990s, a group of botanists climbed the volcanic cliffs of Tenerife and made an astonishing discovery. A few remaining bird's beak flowers still survived, clinging to rocks, growing where almost nothing else could. It was as if the flower had chosen to hide at the edge of the world, waiting for the right moment to return. Today, it is cultivated in specialized nurseries, and although it no longer relies on its former pollinator, humans help it multiply, perpetuating a species that refuse to disappear. What fascinates about this flower is not only its form, it is its resilience. It thrives in poor soil, under intense sun and constant winds. Its silvery stems crawl over rocks, reflecting light as if made of metal, and amid this dry shine, bright red flowers emerge like embers on volcanic ash. In this contrast, life declares itself invincible. The bird's beak flower reminds us that beauty does not always arise in abundance. Sometimes it emerges at the margins, where nothing should grow. Every curved petal is a statement of existence, an act of resistance against oblivion, and in its bird-shaped form trapped within the flower, it pays homage to the lost alliance between plant and pollinator, an evolutionary love interrupted but not forgotten. Today, visitors to the Canary Islands can see the bird's beak flower hanging from balconies and gardens, its red bloom swaying in the Atlantic wind. Few know the story they conceal, a tale of avoided extinction, of silent survival, and of beauty that found refuge on the edge of the abyss. Thus, while waves crash on the rocks and salty air coats the cliffs, the bird's beak flower continues to bloom in its natural fortress. It is a reminder that life, even cornered, always finds cracks through which to breathe again. Number 11. Middlemist's Red, China and United Kingdom. From the volcanic slopes of the Canary Islands, where the bird's beak clings to life with the strength of a promise, the journey now leads to an almost impossible rarity. A flower so scarce its existence seems like a rumor. It is called Middlemist's Red, and only 2 specimens survive on the entire planet, not one more. Its story begins in China, over 2 centuries ago. There, a deep red camellia bloomed freely, adorning imperial gardens. Its color was so pure, so saturated with life, that poets compared it to the blood of dawn. But the flower's destiny changed when the English botanist John Middlemist brought it to London in 1804 as an exotic gift. Unknowingly, he was saving the species because in its homeland it disappeared completely. No one saw it again. The Chinese gardens lost their crimson glow, and for generations it was believed extinct. Only a small shrub survived on the other side of the world in a greenhouse at Chiswick House in the United Kingdom. Thus, behind glass walls and controlled humidity, Middlemist Red continued to bloom in silence, like a relic of a world that no longer exists. The second specimen appeared centuries later in a greenhouse in New Zealand, a direct descendant of the same plant. Today, humanity therefore cares for only two Middlemist flowers, one in Europe and one in Oceania. There are no fields, no forests, no hills where it grows naturally, only two fragments of life treated like jewels. But the most curious thing is that despite the name, Middlemist's red is not entirely red. Its hue varies between crimson and pink, with shades that change depending on the light. Sometimes it seems to glow like an ember, at other times it fades almost to white. This ambiguity, this ability to transform before one's eyes, gives it an ethereal quality, as if it refuses to be fully understood. In the gardens where it blooms, its appearance does not go unnoticed. Botanists observe it with a mix of pride and awe. Each new sprout is a miracle, each petal a reminder of what could be lost. There is no other flower in the world with such a small and simultaneously so closely watched population. Literally, it is the rarest flower on the planet. More than a plant, Middlemist Red is a testimony to fragility. It represents everything humanity almost destroyed, but also what can still be saved. Its survival depends on the care, patience, and devotion of those who protect it. There is no public spectacle, no possible trade, only the quiet of the greenhouse and the certainty that life, even when on the brink of oblivion, can continue to pulse. In a way, this flower lives on the threshold between existence and disappearance. It is a bridge across centuries and continents, between what we were capable of losing and what we still know how to preserve. And so, while sunlight filters through the glass and touches its petals for a moment, Middlemist Red blooms in silence, reminding us that some beauties are so rare they can only survive if we learn to observe without possessing. Number 12. Saffron flower, Crocus sativus, Asia Minor. From the greenhouses where Middlemist's red blooms as a guarded secret, the journey now takes us to the luminous fields of Asia Minor, where wealth does not shine in gold but in petals. Here grows a tiny flower that moved empires and fortunes. Saffron, scientifically known as Crocus sativus, carrying centuries of history, labor, and fragrance. At first glance, it seems a simple flower, 6 purple, soft, almost translucent petals that open at dawn. But in its heart lies a treasure, 3 red filaments, the stigmas, so thin they resemble threads of fire. These are the threads that once dried become saffron, the world's most valuable spice. The extraordinary aspect lies not only in its beauty, but in the precision of its creation. To obtain a kilo of saffron, more than 150,000 flowers must be harvested one by one in the early morning hours before the sun wilts the petals. It is a ritual of patience, a dance between time and delicacy. For centuries, saffron symbolized luxury, medicine, and mysticism. Ancient Persians used it as perfume and pigment to dye royal garments. In classical Greece, it was offered to the gods, and in the Middle Ages, its trade even sparked wars. Its aroma, warm and deep, is almost hypnotic, a mix of earth and honey that seems to concentrate the very essence of dawn. But behind its exorbitant price lies a fragile, short-lived flower. Crocus sativus does not exist in the wild. It is a domesticated species that depends entirely on humans for reproduction. It does not produce fertile seeds, so its survival relies on bulbs that farmers replant year after year. It is literally a flower that lives thanks to our hands. Its violet contrasts with the intense red of the stigmas, as if nature chose to combine serenity and passion in a single creature. Contemplating it, one understands why saffron is called vegetable gold, not only for its price, but for the reverence it inspires. And curiously, despite its fragility, the saffron flower conquered the world. Today it is cultivated from Iran to Spain, from Morocco to India, yet its origin, like a secret kept among petals, remains Asia Minor. There, where Europe and Asia intertwine, the story of flavor began. Each saffron thread is a small story, a promise of color and aroma that has traversed centuries. Each flower with its brief life and violet splendor reminds us that true value lies not in quantity, but in intensity. Among careful hands and violet-tinged fields, saffron continues to bloom as a living jewel, an offering from the earth that, even tiny, has left an indelible mark on human culture. Number 13. Monkey orchid Dracula simia, Ecuador and Peru. From the violet fields of saffron, where human patience and natural delicacy meet, the journey takes us to the misty mountains of Ecuador and Peru, territories where fog seems eternal and forests rise like living cathedrals. In these places where light barely penetrates, blooms a creature out of a surrealist dream, the monkey orchid, scientifically known as Dracula simia. The name is no exaggeration. Its petals, folded with almost unbelievable precision, form the perfect face of a small monkey. Two dark spots resemble eyes, a curve forms a nose, and a rounded opening suggests a mischievous smile. The resemblance is so exact it is hard to believe there is no artist behind the design, but there isn't. It is pure nature playing with surrealism. The orchid grows in the humid forests of the Andes. Between 1,000 and 2,000 meters of altitude, it prefers shade, cool air, and silence. Clinging to moss-covered trunks, it blooms when the environment almost sighs, and it does so without hurry, for in its realm, time dissolves among droplets of water and vapor. The most surprising feature, however, is not the shape, but the scent. Unlike other orchids which smell of vanilla or honey, Dracula simia emits a fragrance of fresh oranges, citrusy and bright, contrasting with the dim forest. An unexpected, almost humorous detail, as if the flower wanted to break the expectations of those who find it. For a long time, it was considered a local legend. The first explorers who described it were seen as exaggerating. An orchid with a monkey face? Only photographs and specimens confirm the impossible. And it wasn't just one, but several species of the same genus, each with its own face. In the botanical world, Dracula simia is a jewel of evolutionary eccentricity. Its form has no direct function in pollination, suggesting the face is a beautiful accident, a genetic whim turned art. Yet this does not diminish its fascination. It is a reminder that evolution does not always seek efficiency. Sometimes it creates beauty by chance. Seeing the orchid in its habitat is like stumbling upon a private jungle prank, a flower that smiles in the dimness, exuding the scent of freshly cut fruit. Its delicacy and rarity have made it a protected species, an object of study and admiration. Among Andean mists and citrus scents, Dracula simia blooms in silence, a work of art without an author, a vegetative wink to the mystery of natural imagination. Number 14. The chameleon pitcher, Nepenthes compacta, Southeast Asia. Descending from the Andean mountains, where the monkey orchid smiles amid mist and citrus, we arrive in the humid and vibrant Southeast Asia, a region where plants seem to compete for sunlight's attention. Here blooms a creature that seems almost unreal, the chameleon pitcher, scientifically known as Nepenthes compacta. At first glance, it looks like a porcelain work. Each flower, small and rounded with metallic texture, shines with an almost supernatural brilliance. Its surface reflects light as if glazed, and its symmetry is so perfect it is hard to believe it was not sculpted by an artisan. In the tropics, it is called a living jewel, and it is not metaphorical. It looks like an ornament suspended in air, a piece of vegetal jewelry, but its beauty goes beyond the visual. At dusk, the chameleon pitcher releases a sweet, dense, almost sugary scent that fills the air with nostalgia. It is the aroma of the ancient and timeless, as if each flower recalled the forest from which it came. This scent attracts moths and small nocturnal insects, enchanted by its glow and fragrance, completing a ritual that unites aesthetics and biology. The most fascinating aspect of the chameleon pitcher does not end with its fragrance and perfect geometry. Its adaptability is equally impressive. Each flower seems to interpret light and humidity in its own way. Some turn white and pink, others acquire reddish or creamy reflections depending on the environment. This subtle variation makes each specimen unique, as if nature carved miniature gems by hand. Its petals, crystallized and soft like heated wax, blur the line between the living and the crafted, showing that perfection can be both natural and artistic. Each hanging cluster with its 5-pointed stars is a microcosm where illusion and detail coexist, like a patient jeweler working on a microscopic scale. Number 15. Himalayan blue poppy, Mechanopsis betonicofolia. Bhutan from Southeast Asia. The journey takes us to the misty peaks of Bhutan, where silence weighs heavier than snow and the wind blows like an ancient prayer. There blooms an almost impossible vision, the Himalayan blue poppy, Mechanopsis betonicifolia. It does not grow in gardens or accessible meadows, but in hidden corners at altitudes where oxygen is scarce and the cold cuts the breath. In this extreme environment, the flower defies logic and climate, dyeing the landscape electric blue amid gray rocks and white ice. Its color is disconcerting and captivating. Not just any blue, but deep, translucent, almost spiritual. The human eye, accustomed to sky or sea shades, does not expect to find this tone in a petal. It is a blue that seems to contain its own light, a pure vibration that imitates nothing, as if nature had created a fragment of the firmament and planted it on Earth. Each flower is a miracle of resilience and beauty, a reminder that nature can reach levels of perfection and wonder that challenge our understanding. In the frozen silences of the Himalayas, Mechanopsis betonicifolia does not just bloom, it suspends time and paints the impossible blue. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you enjoyed our content, please subscribe to our channel and leave a like. Also, check out other interesting content appearing on your screen right now, and I'll see you in the next video. See you next time.